Hello everybody, it's Refresh, and I am here to bring you a battle between the Guilds of Ravnica guild kits and the Defeated God challenge deck from Journey into Nyx. We'll be playing 2 games against this challenge deck. First on normal difficulty with 3 Rollicking Throngs, and then we'll be playing on hard mode. For the purpose of fighting Xenagos, we will be using 3 hero cards. The first one is the Harvester. It says tap, draw a card, then discard a card. The Explorer, which says you may play an additional land on each of your turns. And the Vanquisher, which says your starting hand size is increased by 1, your maximum hand size is increased by 1. Because I only have 1 copy of each of these cards, we're going to apply all 3 cards to all 5 decks simultaneously. We'll go ahead and get started with 8 cards apiece. Dimir draws a Netherborn Phalanx, a Dimir Aqueduct, Island, a Trot of the Silencer, Dimir Aqueduct, Dimir Guildmage, and Unexplained Disappearance. I think this is an okay first hand. Boros draws a Bright Flame, Plains, Boros Charm, Boros Guildgate, Sunhome, Fortress of the Legion, Legion Loyalist, Boros Garrison, and Mountain. This is kind of low in action, and I think I'm going to actually send it back. Our second hand has a Daring Skyjack, a Swiftblade Vindicator, a Boros Garrison, a Master Warcraft, Plains, Fireman, Angel, Boros Kirun, and Wojek Bodyguard. 2-lander is a no keeper, so we will send this one back and go to 7. The third hand has a Boros Kirun, Bomber Corps, Spark Trooper, Mountain, Master, Warcraft, Gird for Battle Boros, Elite, and Boros Guildgate. I don't like this hand, but I think we're going to keep it because I don't think going down anymore is good for us. So we're going to take Master Warcraft and stick this on the bottom and hope we draw land soon. Golgari draws a Slum Reaper, Forest, Golgari Guildgate, Rhizome Lurcher, Treasured Find, Swamp, Gaze of Granite, and Plaguecrafter. It's not a great hand, it's a bit on the slow side, and a lot of the cards don't actually help me, and so I am going to mulligan this. Now I have a Swamp, Rhizome Lurcher, Golgari Charm, Golgari Signet, Gerad, Golgari Lich Lord, Forest, and Dark Blast. This is not a good hand, but I think we're going to keep it anyways, and hope that we can draw into some kind of action. Selesnya draws a Loxodon Hierarch, Selesnya Guildgate, Selesnya Sanctuary, Scatter the Seeds, Centaur Healer, Selesnya Sanctuary, Plains, and Hour of Reckoning. This is a bit of an oppressive hand because of the Sanctuaries, but I think we're going to keep it anyways. Izzet draws a Mountain, a Turn and Burn, an Island, an Izzet Boilerworks, Gutter Snipe, Electrostatic Field, Izzet Boilerworks, and Izzet Guildgate. This doesn't have a ton of action, but I think we still keep it anyways. Because this is multiplayer, we'll start by drawing a card. Dimir draws an Island, Boros draws a Plains, Golgari draws a Stinkweed Imp, Selesnya draws a Plains, Izzet draws a Mountain. Dimir gets started with 2 islands. Boros will play the Mountain and the Plains, we'll tap them both, and we'll play a Bomber Corps. This is a 1/2 human soldier with Battalion. Whenever it and at least 2 other creatures attack, it deals 1 damage to any target. Golgari will play a Forest and a Swamp. We'll tap both and we'll play the Golgari Signet. This is an artifact. It says 1 tap, add black-green. Selesnya will play the Selesnya Guildgate tapped and the Plains. Izzet will play an Island and a Mountain. We'll tap both and we'll play the Electrostatic Field. This is a 0/4 wall with Defender, and whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, Electrostatic Field deals 1 damage to each opponent. We'll then pass to Xenagos, and Xenagos will cast the top 2 cards. Now, because Xenagos has some cards that can kill us instantly before we even get a second turn, if we draw one of those cards, we will mulligan that card if it will kill us. We'll draw and cast the first card. It is Impulsive Charge. At the beginning of combat this turn, all Revelers gain haste until end of turn and attack this combat if able. And then we get an Impulsive Charge, the same thing. The Revelers are going to attack. We'll block 1 with the Bomber Corps and the other with the Electrostatic Field, and we'll take 1 damage to go to 19. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Dimir draws an Island and discards the Island. We'll also spend 2 mana and cast the Unexplained Disappearance. It says return target creature to its owner's hand and surveil 1. We'll return 1 of the Rollicking Throngs. It'll go to the graveyard and we'll surveil. We'll take a look at this Ribbons of the Night, and we will hold on to that. Boros draws a Boros Guildgate, and we will discard the Spark Trooper. Golgari draws a Swamp, and will discard the Dark Blast. Selesnya draws a Plains, and will discard Scatter the Seeds. Izzet draws an Izzet Signet, and we will discard a Guildgate. We'll untap. Dimir draws a Ribbons of the Night. Boros draws a Swiftblade Vindicator. Golgari draws a Forest. Selesnya draws a Selesnya Signet. Izzet draws an Island. Dimir will play an island. We'll tap 2 islands, and to play the Dimir Guild Mage, this is a 2/2 human wizard. For 3 blue, target player draws a card, and for 3 black, target player discards a card. You can only activate those anytime you could cast a sorcery. And then we will play a Dimir Aqueduct. It'll enter the battlefield tapped, and it says when it enters the battlefield, return a land you control to its owner's hand. We'll return the island. You can tap it for blue and black. Boros will play 2 Guild Gates tapped. We'll spend 2 mana, and we'll play the Swiftblade Vindicator. This is a 1/1 human soldier with double strike, vigilance, and trample. Golgari will play the Swamp and the Forest. We'll tap 1 for the Signet, and then 1 more to play the Stinkweed Imp. This is a 1/2 Imp with flying. When it deals combat damage to a creature, destroy that creature, and you can dredge 5 with it. We'll keep 2 mana open for Golgari Charm should we need it. Selesnya will play 2 Plains. Then we will tap everything and play the Loxodon Hierarch. This is a 4/4 Elephant Cleric. When it enters the battlefield, we'll gain 4 life. That'll take us up to 23. And then you can pay green, white, and sacrifice it to regenerate each creature you control. Izzet will play a mountain and an island. We'll tap 2 mana to play the Izzet Signet. This is an artifact. You can pay 1, tap, and add blue and red. And then we will pay 1, tap, add blue, red, pay another island, and then we'll play the Gutter Snipe. This is a 2/2 Goblin Shaman. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, it deals 2 damage to each opponent. We'll pass on combat this turn because we can't do anything to these Rollicking Throngs, and we'll pass the turn to Xenagos, who will cast the top 2 cards. The first one is Ferris Band Revelers. It's a 4/4 Centaur Reveler, and when it leaves the battlefield, each player draws a card. The second is Ecstatic Piper. It's a 2/2 Satyr Reveler. When it enters the battlefield, Xenagos Descendant attacks this turn if able. When it leaves the battlefield, we'll each gain 2 life. Xenagos will go on the attack, and we're just going to take the 6 damage and go to 17. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Dimir draws a Blood Operative, and we will discard the Neitherborn Phalanx. Boros will draw a Boros Garrison, and we will discard the Garrison. Golgari will draw a Deathrite Shaman, and we will discard the Forest. Selesnya will draw a Forest, and we will discard the Forest. Izzet will draw a Izzet Guildgate, and we will discard the Guildgate. We'll untap. Dimir draws a Swamp. Boros draws a Agris Kos, Wojak Veteran. Golgari draws a Swamp. Selesnya draws a Selesnya Evangel. Izzet draws a Erratic Cyclops. Dimir will play the Swamp. We'll tap everything. And then play Ribbons of the Night, targeting the Ferris Band Revelers. This is sorcery. It deals 4 damage to target creature, and you gain 4 life. And if blue was spent to cast it, draw a card. We did spend blue to cast it. And we will deal 4 damage to the Revelers. The Revelers die. And then we will each draw a card, and Dimir will draw 2 cards. We'll gain 4 life to go up to 21. Dimir draws a Mission Briefing, and it also draws a Island. Boros draws a Plains. Golgari draws a Lotlith Troll. Selesnya draws a Gather Courage. Izzet draws a Mountain. Dimir will play a Dimir Aqueduct, bouncing an island back to their hand. Boros will play the Plains. We'll tap everything. And we'll play Agris Kos, Wojak Veteran. Golgari will play the Swamp. And they will pay 4 mana. For Gerard, Golgari Lichlord. He's a 2/2 legendary zombie elf, and gets +1/+1 for each creature card in your graveyard. We have 0. And for 1 black-green, sacrifice another creature. Each opponent loses life equal to the sacrificed creature's power. You can sacrifice a swamp and a forest and return Gerard from your graveyard to your hand. We'll hold up the rest of the mana. We will tap 2 planes to play the Selesnya Signet. It is a artifact. You can pay 1 tap and add green and white. And then we will pay 1 tap and add green and white. We'll tap the Selesnya Guildgate as well to play the Centaur Healer. This is a 3/3 Centaur Cleric. And when it enters the battlefield, we'll gain 3 life. That'll take us up to 24. And then we will play 2 Selesnya Sanctuaries, bouncing 2 planes back to our hands. Izzet will play a mountain, and I think we can win. We'll go to combat. Dimir will attack into a Rollicking Throng with the Guild Mage. Boros will attack into that same Rollicking Throng with the Bomber Core. Stinkbleed will attack into another Rollicking Throng. And then Loxodon Hierarch will attack into the Ecstatic Piper. This will kill both Rollicking Throngs and the Ecstatic Piper. And we'll gain 2 life per player. That's 10 life to go up to 34. Now that Xenagos is alone, he's vulnerable. We will tap 4 mana and also tap the Izzet Signet to get 2 more mana, so that's 5 mana total, and we'll cast Turn and Burn using the Fuse ability so that we can use both halves of the spell. We'll cast Turn. Until end of turn, target creature loses all abilities and becomes a red weird with base power toughness 0/1. So Xenagos is now a 0/1. And then Burn deals 2 damage to any target. And then this will take effect and Xenagos will die. And the Guilds of Ravnica guild kits will have defeated Xenagos on normal difficulty. We'll be right back with hard mode. It's hard mode time. We have 3 Rollicking Throngs set out here. We'll draw 8 cards apiece and hope we don't die. Dimir draws a Syncopate, Ribbons of the Night, Call of the Nightwing, Nightveil Predator,